I'm going to play is of just about a week after Catherine married my lovely son-in-law. To thank us for what we did for the wedding, he insisted on taking us out one Sunday to Cambridge to take us punting on a boat on the river. And it was a lovely day, the weather was fine. And as we were riding on the boat, I got this music that I'm going to play to you next in my head. And I kept it there all day. And when I got home, I played it. And anyway, this one is for my son-in-law, Peter. Next piece I'm going to play is my lovely son-in-law, Peter. A week after they were married, he wanted to take Gilbert and I to Cambridge, punting on the river. Spent all day doing that. The weather was lovely, and all the time we're on the boat, I got this music in my head, the rhythm of being on the river. So this one is called On the River, and it's to my lovely son-in-law, Peter. Thank you. Next one I'm going to play is Tribute to My Mother. Actually, it has two titles. A friend of mine, Veronica, first time she heard it, she said, call it Tribute to Mother. Then I sent it on a tape to my lovely friend Dawn Field in Cornwall. I didn't tell her it had been titled, but she sent back the message to me. It sounds like Across the Meadows. Now, my mother has done so much for me, but one of the things she did was during the war, I was evacuated with the school to Wales. And after 2 weeks, it was a farm. And every lunchtime, the farmer would talk to his other man, he'd talk to his farmhand about when the Germans invade London. And I got this every day, and I thought, I'm never going to see my mum and dad and my little brother again. So I sent my mother a letter and said, it's lovely here, they're lovely people. There's a little boy here about Norman, my brother's age, which made me homesick. And when I've saved enough pocket money, would you come and and bring me home. And as soon as my mother got that letter, she'd never ever been on a long train ride before. During the war in England, there were no train stations names on. It was a long, long journey. She couldn't pronounce the name of the place. It was near Monmouth, and it was CWN, Cumcollier Farm, Cumcarven. She took with her my 3-year-old brother. It was a very hot day. In the carriage was a nice man, and my mother asked him, "Can you tell me where this place is when we get there?" And I'm going to Monmouth. He said, well, obviously he knew the area. He said, "I think it'd be better to get off at Newport Station, and I'll tell you when we get there." So she did, and she had no idea where to find me. It was about 8 miles. She walked with my 3-year-old brother on a very, very hot day. Some of the time she had to carry him. They were both thirsty, and it was across the meadows. If she couldn't see another house in sight for miles, and she walked all day, 8 miles, and eventually she saw a building in the distance. So she stopped there and said, "Excuse me, do you know a Mr. and Mrs. Do you know where this place is?" "Oh yes," he said, "that's my brother. We just go in that direction." So she walked all over stepping stones, over a brook, and reached me about 6 o'clock that evening. So both these titles are very apt for my mother. And of course it's called Tribute to Mother. Now the next one I'm going to play is for my father. I've got, I think, almost all my family have got an inspirational music from me now, except my dad. And my dad died some years ago now when he was only 63. I couldn't feel inspired to get one for my dad. Then I thought, well, he used to love his favourite song. The older ones among you watching this would remember Richard Talbot singing You Are My Heart's Delight. It was always in German. And first it goes, I played that, I thought I'll just have to get this song on the piano, and I did that. I wasn't happy with it. I thought, no, this needs a voice. It's not pianistic. It doesn't sound right. So then I had a little 2-minute break, and I came up with this one. And this is Tribute to My Father. Incidentally, tribute to my mother as well. Another thing both my parents did for me. When I was about 9 years old, my mother thought I should have a piano. I'd never asked for one, but she said when I was a baby, when I was little, the only thing that kept me quiet was listening to music. And when I was 9, she thought I should have a piano. But my mum and dad couldn't afford to buy one. But my grandmother had one, which my mother's 2 sisters living at home bought, but nobody could play. And she was about to sell it. So my mother asked her if in return for the piano, she could give my grandmother, and it was only about 2 years old, a lovely 3-piece leather suite, 6 matching dining chairs. My mum and dad both gave all that away for my piano. All we had in our front room was a piano and 4 wooden kitchen chairs. They took a risk because I might have had 1 or 2 lessons and hated it. But the first lesson, when I came home from my first lesson, they couldn't keep me off the piano, and I said, oh, it's easy. And after a while, my mother, when I was studying for exams, my mother used to say, if I hear you play that piece anymore, I should be able to play it myself. So this one is Tribute to My Father. Right, the next one is a grandmother's prayer, because my two lovely grandsons, Christopher and his brother Paul, you know how it is when they're growing up, they reach a certain age. And I somehow felt that, I don't know, I felt they both needed a bit of help from somewhere that I couldn't give. So I came over to my piano and played how I was feeling. So I had to call this one the Grandmother's Prayer.